Hi readers, Lee here. Welcome back to my channel, Lila Wanders and Reads, and welcome to a ponytailed, no makeup book haul. Originally, I was going to record this video tomorrow, which is Tuesday, and upload it then, but tomorrow evening we are supposed to start getting some of the heavy rain from Debbie, and I don't want to chance it, so I thought, you know what, makeup or no, I will just go ahead and record this today and get it up there for you. Also, we could lose power, so who knows. So I picked out these books specifically for a book haul. I've bought a lot more books than I've told you about, folks. It's an addiction at this point. But I picked out these because over the course of the year, I had an idea about what I thought my reading was going to be. And it's changed a little bit, but one of my main goals was to stretch myself and push my boundaries on what I was comfortable with and what I would try. And I've done really well at that. When I first got back into reading big time in 2020, I mostly read thrillers, some YA, and a lot of mysteries, like thriller mysteries. And there's nothing wrong with that. I still enjoy a good thriller mystery. I still enjoy YA. I enjoy all those easy reads, but I wanted to step outside what was comfortable for me. And in a way, each of these books do that to an extent. Now, you'll notice probably that I was holding up a romance at the very beginning, and I want to tell you about that. Abby Jiminez, Part of Your World. I just, last month, I think, could have been the month before, read Just for the Summer by Abby Jiminez. And I went into that thinking it was a rom-com. And I was taken aback, and it at first affected my enjoyment of the book because the main character had some unresolved trauma that I did not expect. And so it went a little bit dark. I was not prepared for that. I wanted light, happy read. And it wasn't all... Sorry. My phone is going off. It wasn't all light and happy. So yesterday I picked up Part of Your World by Abby Jiminez, and I'm going to go into this one knowing that there's going to be some not so light and happy things. In Part of Your World, after a wild bet, gourmet grilled cheese sandwich and a cuddle with a baby goat, Alexis Montgomery has her world turned upside down. I mean, I think all of those would turn my life upside down. The cause, Daniel Grant, a ridiculously hot carpenter who's 10 years younger than her and as casual as they come, the complete opposite of sophisticated city girl Alexis. And yet their chemistry is undeniable. While her ultra-wealthy parents want her to carry on the family legacy of world-renowned surgeons, Alexis doesn't need glory or fame. She's fine with being a mere ER doctor. And every minute she spends with Daniel and the tight-knit town where he lives, she's discovering just what's really important. Yet letting their relationship become anything more than a short-term fling would mean turning her back on her family and giving up the opportunity to help thousands of people. Bringing Daniel into her world is impossible, and yet she can't just give up the joy she's found with him either. With so many differences between them, how can Alexis possibly choose between her world and his? So, again, I say I'm stretching myself by buying this and eventually reading this because usually when I've thought of romance, I've thought of the happy ever afters and yes, to be a romance, it has to have a happy ever after or a happy ever for now, but I have not read many that have this kind of real world trauma in it that Just for the Summer did. So I plan to read this soon, not sure exactly when. There are so many books to read. Next up, may or may not be stretching my boundaries, but this is a book that I was not going to buy, but because it didn't sound interesting to me, but I picked it up. It was buy one, get one 50 at Barnes & Noble, and I read some of the writing, and the writing style really seemed like it was going to work for me. And that is The Most by Jessica Anthony. It is an unseasonably warm Sunday in November 1957. Kathleen, a college tennis champion turned Delaware housewife, decides not to join her handsome husband Virgil and their 2 young boys at church. Instead, she takes a dip in the swimming pool of her family's apartment complex, and then she won't come out. Set over the course of 8 hours, the most breaches the shimmering surface of a seemingly idyllic marriage, immersing us in the unspoken truth beneath. I have not read anything by Jessica Anthony before. I'm not sure what's going to happen in a pool for 8 hours and why she won't come out. And again, didn't seem like a book I was interested in, but the writing style seems like it'll work for me. And I'll give it a shot. It's also very short, under 200 pages, so I might read this month. I might need a smaller book. We'll see. Next up is a book by I'm having trouble talking today. Pulitzer Prize winner Leonard Pitts Jr., and that is 54 Miles. I am pretty certain I picked up a book by him recently that I have not yet read. I have a pile of books right here that I've not yet read. Anywho, I have a pile of books all over the place that I've not yet read. So, 54 Miles by Leonard Pitts Jr. I'm going to put my glasses on for this one. This is a historical page-turner about a family forced to grapple with its past amid a flashpoint in the American Civil Rights movement. In March 1965, let me back up for a second. This is a stretch because Pitts is a Pulitzer Prize winner. This book is not a Pulitzer Prize winner because this was first printed in July 2024, so needs a little time. This is not really a stretch for me. This is something that I would have read in my college years, this type of book, but I'm calling it a stretch because he's a Pulitzer Prize winning author. In March 1965, young Adam, raised in Harlem by his white father, George, and black mother, Thelma, returns to his parents' home in the home state of Alabama to join the voting rights campaign, only to be brutalized in the Bloody Sunday melee. He is still recovering when he is struck a heavy emotional blow, learning of a grim family secret that sends him spiraling further into danger and drawing Thelma back to the South she both hates and fears. Meanwhile, Thelma's brother Luther is also spiraling, but in a different way. 42 years after his parents were lynched before his eyes, Luther has just made a shocking discovery. He's found the murderer, Floyd Bitters, helpless and enfeebled in a rest home, literally at Luther's mercy. And Luther, who has never overcome this life-defining trauma, grapples with the awful question of what justice now demands. Whew. This is going to be heavy. And if you watched my video yesterday, I talked about the Booker Prizes. I've got 6 Booker Prize long listers that I'm trying to read before the short list is announced in September. So I won't get to this month, almost certainly. But I definitely want to get to this either in September or October. Just put books wherever. Here's the thing that you don't know about me. And I'm not sure this is stretching either, but I'm going to call it stretching. A million years ago, a complete other lifetime, when I first joined the Army, my duty station was in South Korea. And I spent the majority of my time there. I think I did like almost 3 years, 1996 to 99, so 2 years and some change. And long after I left Korea, I would still dream about it. It was a great experience. It was my first experience abroad by myself as an adult, and it was life-changing. So when I first heard about this book yesterday, Sunday, this is also written by a Booker Prize winning author, although this book was not it. Kang, author of The Vegetarian, which is, I guess maybe that won the Booker Prize? I don't know. This is called Human Acts, and it is set in South Korea. I am not sure when yet. 1980, so long before I ever got to Korea, believe it or not. In the midst of a violent student uprising in South Korea, a young boy named Dong-ho is shockingly killed. The story of this tragic episode unfolds in a sequence of interconnected chapters as the victims and the bereaved encounter suppression, denial, and the echoing agony of the massacre. From Dong-ho's best friend, who meets his own fateful end, to an editor struggling against censorship, to a prisoner and a factory worker, each suffering from traumatic memories, and to Dong-ho's own grief-stricken mother, sorry about my phone, their collective heartbreak and acts of hope tell the tale of a brutalized people in search of a voice. So, that's my cousin messaging me about books. I can't wait to read it. So anyway, I heard about this on a random, not somebody I follow, random YouTube channel yesterday, and it was available at the Barnes & Noble, so I picked it up. It will be a kind of chance to go back to South Korea, but not the South Korea that I knew, because I was there in the late 90s. Let me just see what she wants. Oh. She's asking me about Bunny. I gotta tell her that I haven't read that yet. Okay. This next book, The 7 Moons of Maali Almeida, is the Booker Prize winner for 2022. And again, haven't really read any Booker Prize winners that I know of. I'm going to have to start keeping track of this stuff. Colombo, 1990. Maali Almeida, war photographer, gambler, and closet queen, has woken up dead in what seems like a celestial visa office. His dismembered body is sinking in the serene Baira Lake, and he has no idea who killed him. In a country where scores are settled by death squads, suicide bombers, and hired goons, the list of suspects is depressingly long, as the ghouls and ghosts with grudges who cluster around can attest. But even in the afterlife, time is running out for Maali. He has 7 moons to contact the man and woman he loves most and lead them to the photos that will rock Sri Lanka. A rip-roaring state-of-the-nation epic from one of Sri Lanka's foremost authors. Thrilling read. This should be interesting. Again, I'm going to have to wait till I get some of these Booker long lists read. Finally, you may be aware that Edna O'Brien recently passed away. I've read none of her books. I have 2 of her books. One is a book about James Joyce, and one is about Irish, like folklore or something like that. But I did not know about her most famous book, or books, and that is the Country Girls series. 3 novels and an epilogue, so I got it all together. It's huge, but it is 3 different novels. These novels were... Now I'm using my phone to tell you something. These were banned in Ireland under the Censorship of Publications Act. The public response was largely negative because there was sexual imagery and national critique. A lot of religious and political figures took offense, called it filth, shouldn't be allowed inside any decent home, and it was subject to multiple public book burnings, including one in her hometown. But despite this reaction, the trilogy had international success, and that's all. You know, I am very anti-book banning, and I'm completely anti-book burning. So I look forward to reading these again once I finish my books. And this is going to stretch me because I read a lot of books by British authors, but not a lot by Irish authors. I have read some, and sometimes it's like reading another language in some ways, because it's a whole different culture. And I look forward to giving this a read. Anywho, that is it for the 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 books. 6 books haul. Six books that I wanted to talk about. Hopefully, I will get to these soon. Definitely want to get to 54 Miles. May read the Abby Jiminez in between one of the Booker books. And I will keep you posted on my status of that. Anywho, if you are somewhere where Debbie is affecting you, please stay safe. Turn around, don't drown. And I'm going to go ahead and get this scheduled to post on Wednesday. That is it for me. Hey, have you read any of these books? Do you have any comments about any of them? I'd love to hear your thoughts on any of these if you've read them, or even if you haven't. Happy reading!